Hey there, welcome back to Reddit XO, the best channel for Reddit cheating stories. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more stories like these. Now, let's get into the video. My ex lied to me about being divorced, so I ruined his reputation, marriage, and job in one blow. Okay, this is going to be a lengthy tale, so please bear with me. When I was 24, I met a lovely, highly brilliant, and much older guy. For the sake of the tale, we'll refer to him as Jake. Dana is his sister, and I'm Gina. Now, back to the narrative. Jake was 42, recently divorced, or so he informed me, and had a child he only saw on weekends. We met online on a poetry website where we both used to write. He was distant and gruff in his remarks, and he wasn't very popular on the internet, since he usually came off as an arrogant jerk, but I admired his poetry despite of his attitude, and that's how it started. I remarked on one, and he immediately responded with a private message admiring my writing and asking if we might work together on a duet. I'd previously done it 1,000 times with a few acquaintances and respected members of the site, so I said yes. So to cut a long tale short, we met on Hotmail Messenger. This was almost 11 years ago, kids, so no WhatsApp, but we did speak on Facebook as well. This will be important later. To cut a long tale short, we hit it off right away. Underneath all his arrogance, he was witty, attractive, and really nice, and his dark sense of comedy appealed to me. We spent months putting in all-nighters, simply discussing and writing. Not to brag, but I was quite famous on the site since I won a few awards, so he got popular as a result. People began to read and remark on Jake's poetry, and he clearly had a big head about it, but I digress. Our connection became more serious once he said he was in love with me, and I was thrilled. As a result, I went along with it. We discussed my recent separation, and he told me that he would never lie to me since, of course, he uses that phrase, which of his former wife had cheated on him, and he was heartbroken until he met me. I was taken aback by how awful her ex was, but I told him that I was all in. That is exactly what I intended. One crucial aspect of our tumultuous affair was that he was in South America. He's from there, and I was still in Italy, in my hometown. So after almost 2 years of making excuses for how busy he was at work, I decided to pay him a surprise visit. When I purchased my ticket, it seemed like a dream. He picked me up, kissed and hugged me, and drove me to his beach home, which would have been my first red flag, but I was dumb, young, and in love. Saying that doing touristic things on a beach port would be a lot simpler and more pleasant for me than staying in his suburban residence without a vehicle. Considering I told him on such short notice that he didn't have the time or resources to take time off, which was a transparent lie because he was one of the company's partners, but I believed it and went on my own practically the whole week that I was there. He just spent one night with me, and the rest of the week he simply picked me up from wherever I happened to be, and we hung out for a few hours, and then he dropped me off at the home. Come on up, pull your head out of your and realize what a load of BS that is. I know what most of you are thinking. And trust me, now that I'm writing this, I realize what I was. But things get better. He brought me to supper the day before I had to return to Italy, with his 6-year-old son and sister. I was overjoyed to meet his family and kid, but I was taken aback when he introduced me as his friend from Italy stopping by town for tourists. Her sister was lovely, though a little uncomfortable, and his kid was gorgeous. We ate, spoke, and then left. He came to get me up early in the morning and dropped me off at the airport. Now that you've heard the whole narrative, I'll get to the good stuff. 2 days later, still jet-tired, I received an intriguing email. Dana, his sister. Her email was brief and straightforward. Dear Gina, I know you may have thought I was strange and even a little unpleasant when we met, but it was only because Jay misled me into joining the meal with his child. He never stated that you two were dating, but when confronted, he confessed and begged Jake not to tell anybody or his marriage would be destroyed. But you're such a nice and innocent young lady that you don't deserve his betrayal. Jake is still married and has never left their housing. Don't just take my word for it. Dana also emailed me screenshots of his real Facebook page, which was a pleasant surprise. The ideal little family. I thanked her and then turned off my computer. I was heartbroken. I was really contemplating relocating there since I believed Jake was the love of my life. I cried all night and drank wine till I had the worst migraine ever. The sorrow, on the other hand, lasted around 12 hours. At 4 a.m., I awoke, showered, brewed a cup of fresh coffee, and began plotting my retaliation. Yes, I was wounded, but I was also enraged because he not only misled me, but also pulled his sister and his innocent kid into his deception. I was on the other side of the globe and didn't have the funds to hire someone to kick his buttocks or egg his vehicle. But, as my Sicilian father used to tell me, if someone strikes you, don't turn the other cheek, sever their hand. That's exactly what I did. Revenge, 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 revenge. I went down to my desk, turned on the computer, and logged into his Hotmail account. I didn't have the password, but I knew him well enough to answer his 3 security questions in the forgot password part. 1, 2, 3 bum baby, I'm in, and holy sh*t. This conceited bit of human garbage was not just dating me. However, the other 2 females. I soon entered into his Facebook account as well since he had everything linked, the naivety. So I quickly changed all his passwords to I quote Tema and found that his personal email was also linked to his work account. I spent 2 hours going through his emails. This idiot never erased anything, so he had more than 5,000 emails. Until I came upon something quite intriguing. The females he was also seeing and their very steamy email conversations. Dick images are featured. So what exactly did I do? You guessed correctly. I sent a long and graphic email to Jake's wife, complete with photos and conversation logs, posting as him obviously, begging forgiveness, and announcing how much of a jerk I was sending this email to the girls as evidence of my commitment to change and transparency. But I only did because I was a secret queer who believed being a player would help me forget how much I actually liked males. That I was tired of faking and hoped she could move on and even become friends. However, not just to them, I just copied his full contact list, including the CEO and partners of the company he worked, his parents, and D of course. This email was flawless. All of the photographs and conversations he's ever exchanged with other ladies, including mine. As a precaution, I duplicated myself on the list and moved on to part 2 of my plan. I altered everything on his Facebook and said that I was so glad that people now understood who I was. His new wall picture was a pride flag, and his profile picture was a photoshopped image of 2 males kissing. I made 5 new profiles on websites with all of his information, including his phone number, and began chatting with a lot of people until this man gave me a message, or better yet, he sent Jake a message. Tony was his old uni buddy who had been secretly longing for him for years, and despite feeling awful about it afterwards, I arranged up a date with him. Part 3 of my strategy. A week after the tremendous internet outrage with his family and friends furiously calling him all kinds of things and being dismissed because his superiors didn't want the negative news. So Jake, in an attempt to make peace with his family and friends, throws a barbecue for his birthday. But I would have paid a year's salary just to see his face and the expressions on his friends' faces when, in the thick of their celebration, Tony emerged with a bottle of champagne and a bag full of lubrication and to celebrate discreetly as I requested. There was apparently a big brawl, and everyone left Jake bewildered and upset. Because some maniac tried to destroy his life, he cried. I blocked him and forgot about him until 6 months ago, when he messaged me on Instagram, wondering why I had vanished and why I hadn't supported him when he was at his lowest. And the joy I had when I just replied, sorry Jake, but I believe everything you received was karma for all the lies and wasted time you fed me. Best wishes. Oh, and by the way, IT was always me. I immediately banned him and closed my account. Jake attempted to contact a few common acquaintances in an attempt to get my phone number, but they all ignored him. They also received the notorious email. So sure, I got my vengeance. And it was worth every single hour. I understand, I'm so petty. Edit 1. For those who believe that making him look was a mistake on my part, let me assure you that it was only due to his macho attitude and homophobic disposition. And since, unfortunately, there is nothing worse for most Latin guys than individuals, I am completely committed to the LGBTQ+ community and love and support them wholeheartedly. Edit 2. Wow, let me explain a few things so everyone in the back can put down their pitchforks. Tony was never revealed to me. He had been living outside the closet since he was 12 years old, and he was never beaten, mistreated, or in danger at that barbecue. Jake's family and friends blew out at him, resulting in the blood and brawl. Tony escaped securely as soon as he realized what was going on. 11 years later, he is happily married, has a lovely kid, and lives in Europe. I won't reveal which nation, but know that he's happy and that we're still Facebook friends. I apologize to him a few weeks after the barbecue, and despite his pain, he forgave me and even smiled at everything I showed him. Edit 3 and final. I admit that what I did wasn't any better than what he did to me. I was self-centered, irresponsible, and dumb, and I felt awful about it. And when all that blew out, I went out to Tony and apologized for bringing him along on my petty retribution. He was outraged, but after hearing my side of the story, he was relieved. He merely wishes I had been more forthright with him. We didn't end up as BFF, but he's still my Facebook buddy and constantly sends me updates on his life. And just to be clear on a couple points. 1, because I'm half Italian and half Latina. I'm proficient in both Spanish and Italian. 2, we met on a poetry website in Spanish. 3, the common friends I mentioned are a few pals who lived in South America and contributed to the site with us. 4, they are a highly affluent family, thus there will be no serious financial concerns. Jake just lost his job, but a few months later he received daddy's money and established his own real estate firm. I honestly didn't expect things to turn out this way, so I'm not replying any further. All I'm saying is that this is a recollection from one of the worst periods of my life. So it's not fiction. It's not nonsense for karma or nothing. It's a remembrance of someone I'm no longer. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and have a nice day.